Wow, these colors are so perfect together. This is gorgeous. Hey everyone, it's Anna. Welcome back to my art channel and Merry Christmas. So today I have a really fun idea to try. I want to make a 2-layer pour of an evergreen tree on this icy metallic background. So I'm going to do a straight pour for the background, and then I'm going to make a stencil out of blue tape that I can pour the Christmas tree into. So what are we waiting for? Let's make a painting. Hey guys, here I am. I have a 12 by 24 inch canvas and some beautiful metallic colors. This is Pearlescence by Creative Inspirations. This is, I believe, Ice Blue. It's from Folk Art. And you can see it all runs very well off the stick. This is a medium thin paint, maybe even thin. So then this is Metallic Sea Mist from Craft Smart. All my paint is mixed with Floetrol, about 1 part paint to 2 parts Floetrol, and then thinned with water. Then this is Blick Studio Acrylics Metallic Silver. And finally I have some white. I think this is Titanium White from Sargent. So I have a big cup of white and then a bunch of the other colors. My white seems to be just a little bit thick, so let me add some water and mix that up. So I'm trying to create this beautiful, just pale, winter wonderland, shimmery background that gives you the feeling of being out in an icy, snowy scene. My technique today is going to be a straight pour. So I'm going to start with large layers of white, and then I'm going to dump the colors in from a height so that as they go in, they sink down and they all sort of blend together. Now they're not mixing, but I'm not stacking a cup here. I want all the colors to be mixed and swirled together. So now let's add some more white. And more of each of these colors. Do you see when you pour it in from a height, how it drops right in there? That's partly because my paint is thin, and it's partly because when you drop it from up high, it has more speed when it hits, and so it goes deeper into the cup. If you don't want your paint to sink down in there, do you see how pouring from a smaller height, it sits on top? So that's a handy tip for knowing how to layer your cup. Do you want them all swirled together, or do you want them neatly stacked? But this is looking absolutely beautiful. I cannot wait to see how these colors come out. Okay, here we go. I'm going to do a wandering straight pour. So I'm going to start on one side and then just slowly move the cup to the other side. Wow. Oh my goodness, this is gorgeous. These colors are so perfect together. Let's just stretch it out and cover the canvas. Beautiful. All right, next corner. Awesome. So because I'm going to be layering something on top of this, I don't really have a totally clear idea of how I want it to be balanced, how I want the design to look, so I'm pretty much just stretching it to cover the corners, and then we'll go from there. Last corner. Do you see how shiny it is when the light hits it? Oh, this is going to look so cool. Got it. All right, pulling it back. And now I'm just kind of maneuvering it. I know you can't see what I'm doing, but I'm just getting it to where it as a whole background feels unified and it feels balanced. There we go. I think that'll do it. This is amazing. Winter Wonderland is definitely the phrase that comes to mind here. So icy, so cool, so textured and layered. It's amazing. I am so happy with this. Let me give you a close-up. Okay, here we go. So you can see all of this detail. The cells that came up naturally, the layers, the swoops and swirls. My camera can't even focus because it's so shimmery and pale. It's funny. I love this section up here. It's just simple and very elegant. But it's just so interesting. There's multicolored bubbles and cells and swirls and streaks. Ah, I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, so let me let this dry and then I'll show you how it looks then. Here we go, all dry. Oh my goodness, look how shimmery that is. I love it. Dried really well, didn't shift or stretch or anything. So let's add the stencil for the Christmas tree. Okay, so here it is with the blue tape stencil all finished. So the way I made my stencil is I took a piece of kitchen parchment paper and I sort of drew the outline of the canvas, and then I drew the outline of the tree on it. I put some blue tape over those lines, then flipped over the paper because it's clear and you can see on the back, and so then I carefully cut it out, leaving one stencil in the middle. And then I just covered the entire rest of the canvas with blue tape so that I can tilt it and not have to worry about any of my tree colors getting on any part of the canvas. So here are my tree colors. I have this lovely dark green, which is mostly phthalo green from Acrylic. It also has some Christmas green from Apple Barrel. This one is Acrylic Green Oxide. All of these are mixed about 1 part paint to 2 parts Floetrol, and they're mixed kind of medium to medium thin. So they're not as thin as the background paints were, but they're still not all that thick because I want them to blend together. Then this one is Creative Inspirations Bright Green with some phthalo green added. And then this one is a leftover brown, which I think is mostly Apple Barrel, either nutmeg or burnt umber or a mix of both. This one is Metallic Gold, which is also a leftover mix. I think it's pretty much folk art. And then some Sargent and Apple Barrel White. All right, so those are my colors. Obviously it's mostly green, but then I want some brown because I want you to kind of see branches and trunk. And gold I thought might be fun so that it feels kind of like tinsel on the tree, even though I'm not planning on adding ornaments to this. And then some white also to add definition and make it look like snow that has fallen onto the tree. So let's go ahead and layer our cup. So I've got a 10-ounce cup here. I have more than 10 ounces of paint. This is probably about 13 ounces total. I don't know exactly how much I'm going to need for just a center section, but I wanted to have plenty. Okay, so as we layer this, I'm going to start actually with some brown because I'm going to do a waterfall pour for this. And when you do a waterfall pour, the color that you put in at the end is usually the one that comes out, or at the bottom, is the one that comes out at the end. So I want brown in this section right here. So that's why I'm putting brown at the bottom of the cup. And now I'm just going to start layering up. I don't have a particular set order for this. Just kind of stacking the greens together. Small layers of white and gold in between. Because I don't want those to be super prominent, but I want them to be present. My white paint is sinking just a little bit. White paint will do that sometimes. Probably should have used house paint because it stacks better, but if the white is not super present in this, that's okay. Okay, great. See how pretty those layers are? Wonderful. All right, let me get these out of the way and finish preparing the canvas because I've got the blue tape on, and of course I've pressed it onto the canvas, but to make sure that I get a really good seal, I'm going to warm up the tape with a hairdryer and just really press it down firmly. Whoops, see? All right, so let me get my hairdryer. Okay, I think that's gotten all of that firmly affixed, so hopefully we'll have no leaking underneath the tape. Okay, so we've got our cup of paint here. I'm going to be pouring it from this side, but first I need to prop it up. So I'm going to, let's see. I think since it's a big one, I'm just using this old roll of tape to prop it up. You can use a cup or whatever is the right height. So it's not a terribly steep angle. It's possible it'll be too steep and I'll have to pause and change it midway through. We'll see. So I'm going to do a sort of jiggle pour style, back and forth. Let me slide this a little bit further forward so you can see better. Jiggle pour it, so it should create lots of layers that sort of go along with those branches. Okay, here we go. Let's pour. Okay, that is too fast. I need to put it down a bit. And here comes the bottom layer of brown. I was waiting for it. I don't want a huge amount of it, so now that it's here, I'll go ahead and stop. Whew! It always takes a long time to pour those out. I'm going to raise this up a little bit. Just to let it slide a bit on its own. There we go. So we've got lots of beautiful layers that are just waiting to be opened up. Now, clearly it's quite an oval here. So in order to get these lines to kind of go this way, I'm going to need to stretch it side to side. But I'm going to go this way first to get the brown sort of centered back down here. I'm actually going to take it off the edge a bit, even though I don't strictly need to. Taking it down off the edge removes some of that paint and means that it won't be able to stretch right back up the canvas. I want it to be a small amount of brown down here. I don't want lots of brown stretching out. Okay, let's take it back up the other direction. We got to get it off this side or those lines are never going to be pointing the right direction. Same over here. Got to get it off at least towards the side. Let me see if I can stretch it this way so you can see it better as it comes along. This is really pretty. Lots of layers. Trying to let the paint slide off this side. To make our lines a little bit more horizontal. Trying to open up these layers, and that can only happen by stretching it and then pulling it back. So that's very cool. Now I'm going to bring it back the other direction because our lines are all stretched this way, and I want to bring it back to help even them out just a little bit. Okay. I had to tip it almost completely vertical to get it starting to slide back down. But I'm happier with that. There's hints of brown down here, but it's not overpoweringly brown. It's lighter up at the top. We've got layers that are going sideways and down. I think it's going to look great. Now I cannot tell how well my tape barrier has held. So it's possible I'll pull this up and there will be lots of leaking that has happened. I hope that's not the case. If it is, we'll figure out how to work around it, covering it up with the background color or brush painting something. But for right now, I need to let this dry completely. Then I'll show you how it looks when I pull up that tape. So let's go to that next. Okay, the painting is dry. Now you can see that some of the tape did bubble up as it got damp. And even some of these edges, I see it, so I'm pretty sure there's going to be a little bit of leaking around the edge, but I don't know how much. So let's go ahead and pull up this tape and see how it looks. Okay, so clearly I had quite a bit of leaking. So the tree is looking a little bit ragged. I would have liked a much cleaner edge. I think because this paint is still quite fresh, actually there was some paint that was not quite dry where I pulled up the tape. It was still wet on the inside. I may be able to clean up some of these and actually remove some of the texture before it gets completely dry. I think I'll be able to brush paint some of this background color over a lot of those splotches. So let me show you how it looks when I'm all finished, and I can tell you then what I did to make it work. Oh my gosh, guys, here it is. It's all done. Oh, I love it. Let me show you the different touch-ups that I did. So first of all, along the edges, I was able to use just a razor blade to carefully scrape up some of the paint from the edges. So all those places where the drips had been, where it leaked under the tape, I was able to get sort of the texture removed from the canvas. And then I took paint of the different background colors and painted over the little traces of green that there were to try to hide and minimize where the leaking had been as much as possible. So it's not absolutely perfect, but it's pretty darn close. It's a lot better than it was. And then, as you can see, I added some splatters for snowfall, which I think is really cool, and I added this trunk, just painted that with a brush, added some detail with some paint markers. But yeah, absolutely love how this turned out. An evergreen tree with falling snow in a winter wonderland. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it inspired you to try something new. I hope you had a wonderful Christmas, and I wish you all a happy new year. See you back on my channel for another video very soon. Bye!